Take a moment right now to slow down and breathe easily. Set aside all the noise in your mind for a short time and gently turn your focus inward to what you have truly been feeling deep beneath everything else. You may have noticed something lately that is difficult to describe in simple words. There is a tightness that comes into your chest without any warning at all. A sudden memory of a certain person appears out of nowhere. There is also a restless, electric kind of feeling that hums quietly just below the surface of your usual day. That feeling is not random, and it is not only in your imagination. It serves as a clear signal. Energy is flowing toward you at this very time, and your deeper soul is noticing it even before your thoughts have time to understand fully. Your inner self works on a level that goes much deeper than any talk or message. It picks up details that move faster than anything happening on the outside. This is why you can feel that something is changing with this person before there is any clear sign of it. That soft pull inside your chest, the one you often brush off as simple wishful thinking, is actually your inner guide, letting you know that this connection still has important parts left to experience. If you have been feeling that sudden tightness in your chest or pull towards someone, hit like right now. This is usually how such things happen. Just before a big change appears in the outside world, a quiet pressure starts to build up within you. It feels like an energetic tension that you notice without being able to explain it completely. That is precisely the situation you are in at this moment. Small openings are forming in what used to be complete silence. New paths are starting to show where there once seemed to be only solid walls. Your place in this person's life has not disappeared the way you might have worried it did. While you were dealing with your own questions and living with uncertainty, something was quietly changing inside them. The protective walls they had built around their heart from fear, pride, and the desire to stay in control have been slowly breaking down. The strong feeling you have been sensing lately is there because they are now holding emotions they can no longer hide away. The real truth is rising to the surface, whether they feel ready for it or not. The bond you share goes far beyond ordinary thinking. It is not something that distance or time can simply remove by itself. To truly understand why this change is happening now and why the coming days will feel clearly different, it helps to consider what this person has actually been going through in the quiet time between you. They have been moving with care, keeping some space while still observing from the background. They were caught between their own uncomfortable fears and a strong pull toward you that they tried very hard to deny existed. Comment pull if you have been sensing their energy lately even without contact. During the period apart, they filled their days with activities that seemed okay from the outside. They looked calm and in charge, like someone who had simply moved on and found a new routine. But that look was only a cover. It was a mask they used even for themselves so they could continue believing that pulling back was the correct decision. As more time went by, that mask became heavier to carry. Underneath it, a silent inner struggle was taking place that nobody around them could see. Night after night, they struggled with their true emotions. They used reason to explain the distance and told themselves it was the safer and wiser path to follow. Some of this came from pride, some from fear, and some from not knowing how to handle feelings that felt too large to manage easily. That situation happens more often than most people understand. Sometimes a person steps away not because they feel nothing, but exactly because they feel too deeply. Being truly seen by someone else can feel upsetting at first. It can bring up worries about losing control or about getting hurt again. But when two people are truly meant to connect on a deeper level, all the reasoning in the world eventually loses its strength. Slowly, the protective walls they had created around themselves started to become weaker. As that happened, they began to notice that life without you felt less bright and missing something important they could not easily name or replace. A fresh awareness started to grow inside them. They realized that the guarded and controlled version of themselves they had been showing was not their real self. It was only a part they had been playing, and it no longer suited them. Every try they made to move further ahead and create more space between you was quietly stopped by something that kept bringing their thoughts back. It was not just missing a person in the usual way, but something that touched their deepest sense of who they are. It became a turning moment for them, something like a personal awakening. There were times when they tried to cover those feelings by staying very busy with noise, people, and different distractions, but even then, comparisons kept coming in. Thoughts they would never speak out loud continued to drift back toward you. All of this was building up quietly under the surface and leading to the change you are now starting to sense. Something is shifting, and this time, it does not have the same easy ways out that the old distractions once gave. A person can only remain in avoidance for so long before their deeper self becomes completely tired from the effort. And that is exactly where this person is right now. The life they built to hold their true feelings away is no longer giving them the same numbness it once did. They had told themselves that enough space would weaken the connection, that enough quiet would slowly reduce the strength of what they felt, and that enough time would gently remove your presence from their emotional world. But the opposite took place. The longer the separation lasted, the clearer their feelings became. Instead of growing weaker, you became more present in their thoughts. They started noticing you in the small empty spaces they had not expected, in the quiet time before sleep, and in talks that suddenly felt empty. Type yes if your intuition is telling you something is shifting with them. In busy places where they still felt completely alone, even with noise and activity around them, something kept directing their attention back to you. That is when a deeper understanding started to grow roots. They began to see that what they shared with you was not an ordinary link or short excitement. It was something that had reached parts of them that nobody else had ever touched. Once that understanding came, it changed how they saw everything around them. Because once you realize a bond is truly special, you cannot return to treating it as if it is not. Their thoughts may still try to argue against it, but the heart starts to speak with a strength that ordinary logic cannot overcome. There have been nights when they sat by themselves and remembered conversations you may have stopped thinking about long ago. Small moments that once seemed nothing special now carry great meaning in their memory. The way you looked at them during a hard time, the calm your presence brought without any effort, and the special ease of being with someone you do not have to pretend for. That kind of emotional safety is truly rare. The empty space it leaves behind is not something you can easily fill with other things. They have been trying to fill it, and it has not worked. The more they looked for it in other places, the more clearly they understood what was really there between you. At first, pride told them they could move ahead without any problem and that they were stronger than the feeling, but pride always reaches a limit and it eventually meets the reality of true emotional truth. For this person, that limit has now arrived. They have started to see the connection in a new way. It is no longer something they think they can simply choose or replace whenever they want. They are beginning to realize that meeting you changed something in them forever. It is not something they can just decide to undo. While all of this has been happening inside them, something has also been changing inside you. Even if you still think about this person often and wonder what might happen next, you are not in the same emotional place you were before. Something inside you has become stronger and calmer through all of this. You have learned what it really feels like to reach towards someone who is not meeting you in the middle. You felt the tiredness of carrying most of the emotional weight by yourself. Slowly, through the confusion and the long quiet periods, you started bringing your own energy back inside. That change is more meaningful than it may appear, because when you stopped stretching yourself too far and stopped being always available in the hope that it would finally be enough, everything in the energy between you transformed. There was a time when your feelings were mostly pointed outward toward this person. How you felt each day depended on whether they replied, whether they appeared, or whether they noticed you. But at some point you became truly tired of that pattern. You realized that your value was not dependent on their attention. This shift in your own energy is exactly what created the space for them to eventually turn around. Your decision to focus on your own well-being and your own growth did not push them away. Instead, it showed them that you are someone with your own life and your own path, and that you are not just waiting around for their permission to be happy. This realization hit them harder than anything else. It was not in a loud or dramatic way, but because your inner self understood that your own peace had real value. You gently turned your energy back toward yourself. It was not because you stopped caring about this person, but because you finally began caring for your own heart with the same steady, nurturing attention. That simple, quiet decision created a massive energetic shift. When someone is always sending their focus outward, constantly looking for a sign, their presence can eventually feel like something in the background that others start to take for granted. Go ahead and comment awakening if you truly believe they are starting to feel exactly what they lost when they pulled away from you. But when that energy quietly turns inward and becomes calm, the sudden lack of it becomes impossible to overlook. That is exactly what this person is noticing right now. They are feeling your distance in a completely new way because your energy no longer carries the same urgency or the same desperate need for their validation. Instead of making the connection feel weaker, your withdrawal has forced them to finally face the reality of what they have been missing. This is the primary reason why they have become so restless lately. Some deep part of them senses that you are growing, evolving, and moving into a space where you no longer need them to feel whole. The version of you who waited, tried so hard, and made themselves smaller just to fit into their life is rapidly turning into something different. That realization brings a sudden, sharp sense of urgency for them because time feels like it might not last forever. People often find they cannot truly see the value of something until they have spent enough time living in the silence of its absence. This person is now sitting with the full weight of every moment they waited too long to be honest. They are carrying every feeling they pushed away and every single time fear guided their choices. For the first time, they find they cannot easily avoid that internal truth. Sometimes a period of separation is not what ends a bond, but rather what makes it clearer. Distance has a unique way of exposing emotional patterns that simply cannot be ignored anymore. It reveals exactly where fear lives inside a person, and it shows you where you may have been losing parts of yourself while searching for love in the wrong places. It also shows clearly what each person is like when they are forced to stand completely alone. This time apart has changed both of you, but it has done so in very different ways. For you, it helped you rediscover your own worth without needing their approval to confirm it. For them, it gave them the raw experience of moving through life without your special energy present. That is why what you are feeling right now carries so much weight and meaning. Things that were kept buried under layers of avoidance are now rising to the surface. This person is beginning to understand that they do not just miss your attention. They miss your specific energy, your emotional depth, and the unique, warm way they felt whenever they were around you. They miss that rare sense of being truly seen and understood without needing to explain every little detail of their life. That realization has grown strong enough that they can no longer push it aside or hide from it easily. What they are experiencing is not just a passing mood or a few difficult nights of missing you. It has become a steady, constant presence that moves through their daily life, whether they try to lean into it or desperately try to run away from it. There are times when they are doing something completely normal, like running an errand or working, and a sudden memory of you completely takes over their attention. A familiar sound, a specific scent, a certain word, or just a particular time of day all begin to carry traces of you. At first, these moments made them feel incredibly uneasy because they wanted to believe they had total control over their own mind and inner thoughts. They really wanted to be the ones to decide exactly when you entered their thoughts and when you did not. But the truth is that deep emotional connection does not follow those kinds of rules. The stronger the bond, the more naturally and persistently it appears on its own. They are now reaching the point where fighting this connection takes significantly more effort than it actually returns. The walls they built for their own safety have started to feel more like a prison of isolation than a form of protection. The silence they once thought was necessary for their peace has begun to feel heavy, suffocating, and incredibly difficult to maintain. It has forced them into a cycle of deep, honest thinking. From that place of solitude, they are looking back at the history you share with fresh, clearer eyes. They are remembering all the times when you tried to understand them while they remained completely closed off. They recall the many moments when you showed a level of patience they never fully appreciated at the time. Those memories now carry a completely different meaning to them because they can finally see what was truly being given to them. Real love can often feel ordinary or expected when it is there every single day. You do not always notice its special healing quality until it is no longer there. This person is now seeing how rare and beautiful what you offered truly was. They recognize the honesty, the depth, the unwavering steadiness, and the comfort of being with someone who simply allowed them to be their authentic self. They have looked for little pieces of that specific feeling in other places and have found absolutely nothing each time. That emptiness only makes your importance in their life much clearer to them. There have been many nights when they tried their best to move on completely, only to have their thoughts drift right back to you before the night was even over.